Welcome to Next Level Operators, where we spotlight the people building high-performing businesses and how they're thinking about what's next. Today we've got Tyler Bird. He's the owner and CEO of Bird Construction. They are a residential roofing company based out of Bixby, Oklahoma, and he's worked in contracting for about 15 years, started in flooring, interior projects, and eventually moved into roofing. He also spent some time in advertising, built a neighborhood publication where he got the opportunity to sharpen his sales approach, got some coaching, and did a lot of cold calling. He's focused on building teams, expanding marketing efforts, and keeping standards high while preparing for the storm season. Welcome to the show. Thanks so much, Tyler.
Thanks for having me, Jesse. I'm excited to be here, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I think it makes sense to just kind of start at your origin story. Will you take me back to the moment that you decided to get in the roofing business? What was
Sure.
going through your life at that time?
Yeah, man. I had been in the contracting business since I was about 21. I'm 36 now, so going on about 15 years. I started in interior remodels, so like designer showers, kitchens. I really started tearing tile out of a Holiday Inn in Muskogee, Oklahoma. That's how I really got started. But went into sales eventually in that, and I swore I was never going to ever get back into contracting. After that business closed, we had gone into COVID, and I was working for my family's general contracting flooring business here in Bixby, Oklahoma. Um, it didn't work out, man. We had to close in July of 2020. Didn't have any new business really coming in. Everybody was still pretty gun shy before all the stimulus money started hitting, and we were burning through our PPE money, and eventually they wound up shutting the doors. And right then I swore I was never going to do contracting again. I went into a little bit of a depression there for a while. I was drinking a lot and doing drugs, and um, just kind of destroying my life. I was on a self-destructive path there. I had a spiritual experience or whatever you want to call it, and wound up getting sober in 2021. When that happened, I was kind of sitting in my house. I was getting some stimulus money and just enough to, pay some bills and feed myself. And I was looking for a change. I was sober now. I had some season under my belt in the sales world and et cetera. And I wanted something different. So I came across a headhunter I guess I'd filled out a Indeed employee application thing or whatever. And I just had my resume posted out there, and I got a call from a guy in North Carolina, and he asked me if I had ever been in a franchise or done anything in a franchise setting before. And I mean, long story short, no, I hadn't. So explored that a little bit, and that led into some advertising and marketing that I started. It was a relatively small, it was distribution of about 1,200 magazines that were going out every month, but it was to a specific community here in the Tulsa area that is on a world-renowned golf course, Southern Hills, which is they play like PGA majors. They play over there, so very affluent neighborhood. I was selling advertising, so I wind up having these meetings, and I'm meeting with local business owners, and I'm meeting with floor guys, and I'm meeting with painters, and I'm meeting with realtors, and yada yada yada. But I kept meeting with roofers. Meet with roofers and meet with roofers, and these guys were buying my stuff. These guys had, it seemed like, just all this money all the time. They had all this money to spend. And I wound up having 2 or 3 in my publication. One of them, Austin Fricker, who owns A Fricker Roofing here in Tulsa, was just one of the nicest human beings I've ever met. He saw my vision with that magazine. He didn't wind up buying an advertisement in my magazine at first. He went into another one that's here in Tulsa for an area that his team works in that location a lot here in town. But he started being a point of contact for me. And he had a similar story, not exactly the same as mine, but he had some stuff that we had some commonalities on, and I got to being friends with him. And I did the advertising for about 2 more years. And I was looking at these roofers, and I was like, man, these guys they seem to have some schedule that they could do a lot of family stuff. It seems that they have a lifestyle that is attractive to me, and they're still getting to help people, but also make a good living for themselves if they're doing stuff honest and whatever. And he's got a really good reputation in town. So I learned that might be something that I wanted to do. Long story short, in May of 2023, I sold my advertising company, and I went to work knocking doors for a guy. Not this guy I just talked about, but for a different roofing company. Started knocking doors. We had a massive hailstorm that happened in September of 2023 that hit Henrietta, which is a little bitty town, suburb here of Tulsa. Actually, Troy Aikman is from Henrietta, Oklahoma. Fun fact there. But that, man, you talk about the hailstones, sky diamonds. They were 4.5 inch hail. It was coming through the decking, landing in people's living rooms, and we had an absolute feeding frenzy, man. In that first 3 months, I made more money in 3 months than I'd ever made in my entire life selling
That was how
roofs.
that was how my first 3 months of roofing was.
Yeah, bro. Um, that lit at least a little bit of a passion under my belt, and I started to see maybe really what was possible here. The guy I was working for, we didn't quite see eye to eye, and we naturally just kind of parted ways after 3 or 4 months. I think I was looking for about 90 or 120 days, but it was pretty quickly apparent to me that it's not easy, right? There's so many things that are involved in a roofing system and proper insulation and blah, 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 blah. None of it's easy, but it was also something that I saw. I was like, hey, I've got this background in contracting. I've got this background in advertising. I've sold stuff before. Like, I really don't need another company to micromanage me. I'm going to go do my own thing.
So you just jumped right in. 3
I
months,
jumped in,
3 months, and you're like, I'm doing it.
I'm doing it. And I did for the next 5 months.
No, but I want to know.
Not much, bro. I was waiting for hail, man. I was sitting around. I was trying to do some remodels for people at church or do some bathrooms. We did probably 3 roofs between January of 2024 and May of 2024.
But you stuck with it.
I stuck with it.
So what, you said some people were doubters. Yeah, what made you think that you could pull it off?
Well, I mean, I was getting nervous in the little dry spell we were having at the beginning of 24. I was like, maybe these sons of bitches are right. I don't know. But the sky opened up on May 21st of 2024 here in South Tulsa, dude. We had 2.75 inch to 3.5 inch hail that ran for about a 15-mile long swath and about 3 miles wide that impacted over 150,000 of the most affluent zip code in the city of Tulsa. And we did about $1 million of revenue in 6 months off of that storm and never have looked back. So that was kind of the icing on the cake that let us know, hey, this is definitely something that we can earn people's trust in. It's something that we can support our community and ourselves on, where we can make a honest wage at. And now we've been able to grow and scale slowly, but we're scaling, and we're now being able to provide for employees' homes and employees' foods and their family. And I've got 3 crews. We keep pretty regularly busy now, so on any given install day, we're feeding 12 or 13 families, bro. This is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done in my entire life.
So I say, funny, my next question was kind of, to ask, specifically looking at where you were when you started and where you are today, what are you most proud of? And maybe that's it right there is the, the people. But I do want you to answer that question.
Yeah. And I think that's definitely it. It's the people, the way that we try to approach this, one of our core values, if you will, and it's much less wordy than what I'm about to say, but everybody involved in that process is supposed to benefit, from the homeowner to the installer to the sales guy to the business owner. And if somebody doesn't benefit in this process, something got off there. And that's probably been the most important great part to me, has been the relationships, and then the means of providing for my family and others' families that this has allowed us to do.
And from the customer side, I mean, if we had a customer sitting here, what do you think they'd point at in terms of their experience working with you? Where do you think you guys shine the most?
I think we're good communicators. I think there's always room for improvement there, but throughout our whole process, from the start to the finish, to asking for a Google review, they're talking to either the company owner or their sales rep through that entire process. I know a lot of companies do this, but we have a designated project manager that is seeing that from the pre-installation stage all the way to the last nail and the gutters are hung and the fascia's fixed stage. So we communicate through our CRM platform, all the texts and emails and everything, so we can hold each other accountable to make sure that these touch points are occurring with these clients. And I think that has definitely been something that set us apart, because we get a bunch of business off of other companies where Well, the guy came out and gave me an inspection and I never heard from him. Or
Yeah.
came out here and the adjuster said they were only going to pay for half of it. And then I never heard from my roofer again. And I've got these tarps and whatever on my roof and they just never showed back up. And we've
Yeah.
been really able to capitalize on that, bro.
I mean, that speaks to my kind of strategy and philosophy too. There's a lot of ways you can shine for sure. I've always felt that way. You know, like that just communicating with your customers like makes everything else easier. Like if you screw something else up, but you've been communicating well, there's just so much more leeway. And so to me, that is, it's always been like the main thing, just like communicate with my customers. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's crazy when you're doing that. It's crazy how many people don't do that. Like it just doesn't even, it doesn't make sense. I don't know. I don't know how people do business any other way.
Well, I guess here's the, here I think one of the things is volume, right? Yeah, and that's where I find that the breakdown has required me to expand, right? To think more, to get more systematized, to get more diligent, because as the volume goes up, that communication becomes harder and harder and harder. Is that something you've experienced? And if so, how have you managed it?
Yeah, that's a great question because that's a pinch point we're right in the big fat middle of right now. We were trying to basically double our revenue from last year. We've gone from 2 sales guys to 5 sales guys. We have gone from no project manager to a project manager and no admin assistant to an admin assistant. So we've got 5 people that we haven't had historically in the last 3 years. And you got all those cooks in the kitchen. And like you said, I mean, a lot of the times we do have some communication breakdowns. So what we've been really trying to implement is that the salesman owns that job from start to finish until everything is signed and they're gone, they're Google reviewed, and they've had their 1-year installation checkup happen. That salesman owns that job. That has helped us from 2 different people contacting the same person, et cetera. And really the system, like you were talking about, being in place. And what we've been really pushing is for this communication I'm talking about to be happening through our CRM platform, which we can text, email, and phone call out of. And then it's date and logged as that goes. And me as the owner, my wife as the co-owner, anybody can look at that and see where we are in the project. And we're able to send a reminder or a task to the whoever needs to reach out to that person, or I
Yeah, no,
can.
I mean, honestly, man, it took me a while to adapt to CRM, but once you do, it's just, especially as the owner of a business, getting people to use that is vital. It's
Yeah.
vital.
And we've had to have the SOPs. We've had to write SOPs for all this to be
I
able to
was
hold
writing
them accountable
SOPs
to it.
today.
Yeah.
I'm writing SOPs right now. It's literally what I've been breaking my brain about all day today.
It'll take up some time, but I mean, golly, once it's there.
Exactly. I'm putting all the front end when it's like, it's still, yeah, I thought it was done. And then they tried to do it. They tried to do it today. It didn't work. So I'm like, okay, it needs a little more work.
That trial by fire, baby. It's just they'll show you the holes in your system if you let
Oh
them.
yeah,
So
yeah. Fuck. I've literally, I'm working on 3 right now. And I thought I finished the 3rd one and then the 2nd one. And it doesn't matter. Yeah. So I'm curious, because I talked to a lot of people who are handling their sales in different ways. And I think I want to get a little clearer on what you're doing so people can hear. Cause I think that there's a few different approaches that where you've got this approach where your sales guys really are handling everything end to end, including ordering materials and all that, or not doing that. And I was just curious, are you guys acting as project managers, or are they actually literally doing the entire thing from end to end?
no, so my guys are not doing they're strictly mainly doing the sales and dealing with the customer facing stuff, shingle selection, all the selections, stuff like that, upgrades, selling them upgrades. They are doing that, but
No,
we
then that
have
makes
a
sense. That's what I some companies do it that other way. I feel like more going towards what you're describing now, which is what I've always done as well.
kind of going back to your thing about the scale. Like we've seen on when the with the volume increase, we've seen that become almost not a full time, but for sure a part time position for somebody where they're ordering materials and making sure stuff's right. I did used to do it the other way though, Jesse. I used to have the sales guy go out there and do everything. And then what I started to see was these guys would get hung up on something or bogged down with something or whatever, and then the sales would suffer. And then we'd have to take a month to get the sales back to where they were back up to. And it was just an ebb and flow of peak and valley. So when we were able to remove the minutia off of the sales guy and let him actually just go sell roofs, we have seen an explosion in
Manage
revenue.
relationships.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, that's a good way to put it. That's what they're doing. They're managing the relationship.
Totally. I always tell everybody, like, I'm in sales. I'm a sales guy. I am. But the truth is, I'm a people person. And so I just, like, I care about people and they can tell. And therefore, I'm really good at sales. When you manage relationships and nurture relationships and care about people, it makes you good at that. But that takes a lot of effort and takes a lot of time. And, for you, you're doing it on two ends. You got to manage your people and care about your people. And you also got to care about these customers. So as you've grown, you've scaled, you've brought on team, you've got admin, project managers, your wife's involved, sales teams. How has your role changed? What are you still hands on with? What are you doing day to day?
So, honestly, I'm still in a lot of an operator mode right now. That is my big push for 26 is to get these supplement, these systems in place and these some ancillary people between me and operations kind of built in there. Uh, because right now I'm still doing a lot of it, ordering materials, I'm scheduling crews. If there is a customer issue or whatever, I'm resolving that. So that's kind of our next leap into the staffing that we're going for is getting a designated sales manager that's dealing with the sales team that does answer to me. Eventually, an operations manager, just kind of starting to build that ancillary positioning there as we scale. But right now, we're 7 people. So we call ourselves the flock. We have our flock team meetings on Monday. So it's still very much like, hey, what do you need? When do you need it? Either me or Brittany is usually taking care of it for them. And
So what
that's obviously something we're trying to get away from. But that's just where we're at right now.
and what's been the hardest part of growing from just you to, team operation?
The biggest hurdle has been the training of the new sales guys. Um, you know, we've had trouble recruiting qualified talent and then retaining said talent once they get here because I think it's a twofold or a double-edged sword on that. We tell them what's capable and what they can possibly do. And we don't usually use our top earner as the as the landmark for that. We tell a guy, hey, if you come out here and you bust it, you probably can make $50,000 to $80,000 your first year. You're probably not making 200 grand. So get that out of your head. We try to set expectations really clear with them from the get go. But what I see a lot, and my guys are 1099. They're 1099 sales guys at the end of the day. They're commission only. With that, I don't really have control of their time. And what I usually see is I see guys get in it and they're in it really hard when we're training them and they're in office learning the systems. And then after we do a couple of weeks of knocking, they get out in the field, they get discouraged, they're not communicating, they're not showing up, and they kind of quiet quit. That was the trend that I saw for about a year and a half. We've brought in some hiring companies to act as kind of our what do you want to call it, like remote HR department. That's been a big waste of money, in my personal opinion. They've done the same Indeed postings that we can do, and they've got the same candidates that we've gotten. They've screened them, but I have not retained one employee that has been really sent over to us from them. So that's a little bit frustrating because it's like a $5,000 a month service. Between that, as far as the hires, that part on the personnel has been a pinch point. Then on the flip side, on more of the managerial administrative side, everybody and their dog wants a piece of your pie. They want to sell you this system that you don't need. They want to sell you this marketing that you don't need. They want to sell you this CRM platform with this AI feature that's for this thing that you never even knew about. That everybody wants a piece of it. So staying focused and really figuring out to us on our tech stack what's important and really what we need, and then really what is maybe nice to have, but good God, too expensive, and just kind of not having my guys be in 7 different apps while they're on an inspection. That's kind of been probably the operation side where we've had the
Yeah,
pinch
yeah,
points, you know?
you're talking my language in terms of stuff that I'm always navigating as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, the system stuff is really, I mean, that's where my mind is. It's always been systems because, yeah, I wanna be efficient. I'm all about efficiency and, yeah, you got my mind going. You got my mind going right now. I like that. That's funny. Cool, yeah. No, I've been talking to a lot of people with same issues, honestly. That hiring, keeping, maintaining, training. Then, yeah, you put too many things, make it too complicated, right? You think adapting. For them to be able to adopting. So you put all these cool ideas together, but your people actually have to use them.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure.
So you're investing in digital marketing, SEO, direct mailing. You built a new website. hiring more people? What's the big picture? What are you building towards?
So initially, when I got into this a couple years ago, I wanted to build this big and sell off to a private equity group, make my 10 million bucks and go down the road. That has changed probably over the last 2 years. I actually like my job. I've never really been able to say that, man. I actually like my job and everything else. So I think now we have pivoted. We are working towards getting our commercial license right now, getting our commercial endorsement. And I definitely am thinking that we're wanting to continue to scale this, adopt the commercial division, have that going, and then see how big we can make this thing, man. I've got a 9-month-old son, so if he does want to inherit it, that means dad's going to be working at least 25 more years on this thing. But I mean, I wouldn't have it any other way, dude. Like I said, this is the greatest job I've ever had. I get to be an operator enough, just enough still, like training these sales guys that I get to go out and be on roof peaks. That's what I was doing before we just got on this call. There's just something about the adrenaline rush of roofing that I'm like addicted to it, man. I don't know how else to really describe it.
It's funny. I got into roofing specifically because I'm a climber. I'm a mountain climber, rock climber. I was like, that's what I was doing when I got into roofing, and I was trying to fund a climbing movie that I was making.
Okay.
And I'd run out of money, and I was like, I need to make some money. And I was like, I like climbing stuff, and climbing roof sounds good, and it looked like you could make money. So yeah, that climbing thing does. Although it's changed since I started to now. Now I'm like a little more sketched out on the sketchy roofs, where before I pop right up and wouldn't think twice about it.
Well, you bring up a good point because I mean, last my son's 9 months old. Just 18 months ago, there was some stuff I would do that I won't do today. If it's super de-lambed and whatever, man, like I'm trying to get home to my sweet little boy.
I was on a customer's roof last week, and I was like, I've been on this roof multiple times. I was like, but yeah, no.
Yeah, it definitely changes your perspective,
Oh, for sure. I remember. I mean, this is all. This is a side note, but my wife got pregnant, and I went to go do some climb with a buddy of mine, and it was like, oh, this is a totally different thing now. My level of risk tolerance is totally just. It was changed, and I recognized it in that moment, and it has been ever since, which makes sense.
And that's that at the end of the day too. That's part of my goal here with building this ancillary layers between me and operations is to wherever they need me, I'm always going to love climb. But at the same time, like, how can I not take risks and let the 20-year-olds be 20-year-olds?
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So 3 to 5 years from now, what does bird construction look like? What's a successful version of bird construction in 3 to 5 years?
I think it's kind of a multi-facet answer. I would think revenue around 10 million, five for sure. I really hope it's around 10 million, or I don't feel like we're scaling how we should be. But, um, probably the big hairy goal there. And then I would say on my spreadsheet, based off of my little flow chart that I have, it would be 5 or 6 residential salesmen, 3 commercial salesmen, and 4 project managers between commercial, and 3 or 4 project managers between commercial and residential. Hopefully, have in-house estimating and supplementing going on. We're currently third party sourcing that just because of time restrictions. And then I would definitely like to be able to start giving these guys some kind of like beyond their commission money, whether that's quarterly bonuses or profit share at the end of the year or stock options or whatever. I will not be partnering with anybody on this business. That is not a goal of mine. That is nothing that I want to do. I don't want a partner. I've got my partner. She's got my last name. So we don't want investors. And that's something that has been proposed to us a couple of times. And we do have this vision, Jesse, that we think we're after, and it doesn't involve anybody else. I don't know how to really describe it other than that.
Yeah.
But I've been around long enough, man. I'm 36. I've been in Tulsa my whole life. I've watched from roofers to manufacturing companies to whatever is around here. And these investors come in there and the company changes. The customer service changes. The wait time for service changes in a negative way on all of that.
Yeah.
And the company, obviously, it is our last name. There is some pride that we take in that. And my family, I'm the third Tulsa generation here, and we're definitely trying to build a reputation that when they call bird construction, We may not be able to help them, but we're going to be honest with them and we're going to get them pointed in the right direction to somebody that can help them. And I think if we can accomplish all of that and just have a piece of the market share, right? Because it's like there's almost 500,000 people that live in Tulsa. There is plenty of roofing for everybody and their dog to feed themselves around here. And that's something I think I really try to preach to my guys and my team. Like, this is an abundance mindset. So 3 to 5 years, why not us? Why not $10 million in revenue? Why not a commercial division? Why not coatings? Why not this? But we want to have commercial, residential, coatings, repair division, and then some kind of like maintenance and just like general upkeep division going. So a 4 to 5 legged system. Might even throw some gutters in there. I don't know yet, but
So
just some
you
multiple streams of income.
yeah, yeah. So you were talking about, scaling, or no, you were talking about investors having a negative impact on, how you actually perform. Um, as you scale, what are you determined to maintain, to not lose?
I think no matter how big we get, I still want them to feel like they're doing business with me and my family on every transaction. I don't want BlackRock owning a piece of me. I don't want that, dude. I've specifically changed suppliers because of that. There's certain ones I won't shop with anymore because they've been bought out or they've changed names 3 times in a year and a half, you know? And I just think that that is something of our core value of integrity that we just really want to drive home and never ever part ways with. Because I started this company, like I said, I had been roofing for a guy. We've been doing some other things, but I had to go out and earn these people's trust. I had to go out and knock doors. I had to go out and tell them, hey, I'm this guy with a beard that's not gonna rob you, but we're here to actually try to help you. And I worked my butt off to build that reputation as somebody that this community can trust. And I think that that is something that is vital, at least to my sleep at night, to maintain, is that, hey, this is a company that's family owned, family operated. And if we absolutely had to, I can get a hold of the owner and they can help me with something. I don't ever want to be too big for that. I don't necessarily want to field the calls all the time, but if shit hits the fan, I want them to be able to get to me if we absolutely have to.
Yeah. Well, and just to feel like that's who you're dealing with anyways, regardless of whether they're talking to you or not, if that's their takeaway, then that's a success.
You know, that's we tried to train the sales guys like that. Like, hey, you are an extension of us when you go out in the field. So like don't shit where you eat. Just don't do it.
Yeah. Well, I like, that's another topic that we're not going to get into today, but company culture, I really think is like it's it's powerful, and especially for the business model that you're talking about and the way that you're approaching this and what's important to you, where you can instill that in your people and then have them carry that out. It's not a simple thing to do, but it's a valuable nut to crack.
It's hard too. I mean, it's not it's stuff you got to train these guys on. People aren't inherently doing this on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah, yeah. Well, it's yeah, I like it. Really, company culture, I think it's a fun one. Yeah, one I'm interested in. In investing in. So you've been in this for 15 years. What's the mindset shift? The mindset shift that's made the biggest difference for you.
Probably being my own boss, honestly, and not having to necessarily be, I don't know, under the scrutiny of somebody else to a degree. I like the freedom. And I think the freedom has allowed me to be more me, which has translated into a more successful business because I can go be a roofing sales guy. I don't have to be a roofing sales guy for this company that's trying to remember everything. I can just go out there and it's my company and my culture and my way. And it kind of just, it makes it easier for me. And I don't think I answered your question. I'm
Well,
sorry.
no, it's all right. I mean, I like what you said anyways. You said, you like being a business owner. So what has that process of becoming a business owner, what has it really forced you to become better at?
Being honest with myself, truthfully, taking a real inventory of myself and where our business really, really is at the end of the day. Because, oh, wow, he worked for 16 hours, but shit, man, I was on an install all day. What did I really do to grow the business? I made sure the install went smooth, but what did I really do to grow the business today? And having some of these um, rocks, we use a Trello board. I don't know if you've ever used one of those,
Yeah, yeah.
but we use that, and like I've got it broken down into months and quarters, etc. And that has really helped me to stay accountable to not getting sidetracked. And the 200 calls I get, when 150 of them are just wanting to sell us some more tech or AI or whatever they're wanting to sell us, and staying focused on, hey, like we actually, instead of doing these demos, we need to be out in the field with these guys, getting them trained. And I think it's a struggle that I'm currently in, Jesse, because I mean, I really am trying to make the leap right now from owner operator to owner. And just it is what it is. We have with the pain point of the retention of the employees, especially in the winter months, et cetera. I keep having to put the operator cap back on. So that's probably been that's been hard as the business owner to actually be the owner, because I use that term lightly because I'm still operating the business for the most part. And you see all the stuff on Facebook and the Grant Cardone stuff of the world and this and that. Like, you need to be the owner. And it's like, I'm just not quite there yet. We're
Well,
getting
it's a
there.
process, that's a
Yeah, for
process.
sure.
Nobody like that is a process. You evolve into that. You got to figure your business out. And I mean, I'm sure that there's some business model or somebody who starts some business to really start that right away. But for most of us, that's an evolutionary process where you structure your business, you get a handle on it, you know how it runs, and then it evolves organically. So that's what you're describing here. It's this organic process you're going through. So if somebody was looking to build a similar company, and somebody was looking long term, they want to get into roofing, what would you tell them to focus on early?
Knocking doors.
Knocking
Knocking
doors.
doors, not being too good to knock doors, getting you 4 pairs of socks and knocking doors. And when you can't knock any more doors, knocking some more damn doors.
That's hilarious. I fucking love that.
This
Honestly, I think knocking doors is just amazing. To me, it's just like amazing. You can walk into a neighborhood, you could knock on a door and get money. It's
Yeah,
like,
I didn't have to pay for advertising. I didn't have to wait for some Facebook
and you
ad
get
that was
that face to
bullshit.
face. You get
Yes.
that face to face. I always, always, always say that. I always preach. I started out as a door knocker. I still am a door knocker.
Yeah, man.
Put me in a neighborhood, I'll knock on doors.
Have the Mormons stopped knocking doors yet?
No, of
Then
course
we're not
not.
gonna stop knocking doors yet, because it still works. You know what I'm saying? It still works.
I think it works at a
Our
high
conversion
level
rate,
too. I sell commercial jobs, big commercial jobs, knocking on doors.
because you got the balls to go do it, and you're there, so you're gonna go ahead and lay it on the table. And if you can get to the operations guy, here's my spiel. Oh, nobody else has even got past the gatekeeper. You
Yeah, I
win.
know.
You win
No,
every time.
yeah. Well, you get in the door with the commercial knocking on the door. The hard part with the commercial is all the systems afterwards to stay in their door.
Sure.
That's
I
the
mean, I got to take your word from what I'm hearing and learning. Yes, sir. It seems like that is the keeping them happy is the hard part. But
keeping them happy. Yep, exactly.
yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, I guarantee you, I can pull it up, but I guarantee you, we're almost 400% more on knocking door closes than we are in inbound advertising leads. Not 100, not 200, but like almost 400% more close rate than we are um, from inbound Facebook leads or whatever. And we're having to pay. I mean, we spend almost $120,000 a year on marketing. We're
I
spending about it.
So the AI and the tech shit that you're not too excited about, I'm really excited about that. I'm selling that stuff too, and I'm knocking on doors with that.
Yeah.
You know,
Well, hey, and if it works and it implements into my system, and I don't need 400 different apps and to talk to this one, to zap over to this one, to get back to my CRM, like you, you might have a customer in this guy. That's all I'm
yeah.
saying.
Oh, I mean, I assume I will. I mean, not just in
Right.
you. I assume with everybody, and mostly
Sure.
because I just believe in myself and I believe in what I do. But anyways, indoors. That's the takeaway. And I couldn't believe it more. I see so many commercials out there on my Facebook and all this stuff. Knocking doors is dead and all this stuff. And I'm like, no, it's not. You're just if you're pushing technology, then it doesn't quite go with knocking doors.
Right. Yeah. This negates your whole premise here. So yeah,
So
I'm sure
I've
you.
got a product that goes with knocking doors that works out really well. I'm gonna tell you about it offline. But
And hey, I think there is like
oh, there is there's
just
so much. It's just got to be practical. You got to
right.
think about practical. Truly, what are we doing in the business, and how do we, you know,
How do they marry up?
I started all my systems to support my business, to support me, just to make me better, right? Like I was doing really high volume. And the only way I could keep my promises, the only way I could keep my integrity and feel good about what I was doing was to systematize. I was like, all right, well, I like doing a lot of sales, but I also can't look people in the eye and promise that I'm gonna take care of them and like do all these things. And honestly, my first storm I went out, I got up with this company. It was not good. I did $3.8 million for them in a matter of like 3 months. But
Dang.
then what I noticed was I made all these promises and they weren't keeping my promises. They
Yep.
were telling me they were going to do all this stuff. So I felt shitty at the end of it. So I left that company and went work with another company. And it went a lot better. Then I grew my sales over that period of time. But I realized they're not going to do it. I have to actually I basically became a different business than just a salesperson. I became a systems, I marketed myself and was like, this is what I do. I bring systems, and these systems are like production has to follow this and this if you want, and it works. It works. And yeah, anyways,
I love that though, seriously, because there's a happy medium there, right? Like there's I'm on Facebook and doom scrolling and whatever, and like I guess these kids now they don't even use Facebook, they use TikTok. They're probably not our ideal homeowner anyways. It's on TikTok, but there is like I think you got to knock the doors, right? But you got to have these consistent touch points, which you can only achieve in the digital realm to a degree. So I do think like I don't want to completely discount it, but I definitely don't think a company relying strictly on digital marketing, they may not, I'm not saying they're going to not survive. I would bet you if you look at 10 of them, the ones that are knocking doors are making have higher revenue than the ones that are strictly doing digital marketing.
yeah. And I mean, listen, if you can ROI on digital marketing, then cool. If you could put this much in and get more out, okay. But I agree. Foundationally, stick me in a neighborhood, and I can go to their doors and get money.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I mean, we literally just did it before we got on this call. We just went over there, did the inspection, got one call closed, and here we go. It didn't take me 6 hours between setting it up and following up and scheduling and getting the sales guy over there, and then making sure he was still there and he didn't have a roofer that knocked on his door before our appointment scheduled time and got the inspection before we got there. How shitty is it to get on the roof and chalk's already up there? No,
Totally.
I haven't had an adjuster. It was ABC Roofing Supply. Oh, damn. Never mind.
I wasn't tracking that exactly. So you're saying,
Sorry, the knocking doors. You knock the door, you do the inspection right there.
yeah,
Digital lead. Hey, Mr. Homeowner, yeah, it's Thursday. We can be there Tuesday. Well, Saturday, Johnny from ABC went over there and knocked, and Johnny already got the inspection. Now I'm coming on Tuesday. I get up there. There's already chalk up there. I'm gonna knock doors.
yeah,
I'm gonna
yeah,
knock
yeah.
doors. I'm gonna knock doors. And if they have, oh, I've seen you on Facebook. Perfect. It's working. Let me get on your roof. You know,
So what's your favorite part of running your roofing business?
favorite part is I'm gonna have to say working with my wife and being able to have my son and not have to have him in daycare. Um, we office together. She's here usually 3 days a week, and she's at home the other 2 days of the week. Um, but having somebody that I can trust like that, having somebody that even when she doesn't want to is brutally honest with me. Um, and then when I'm having a really shitty day, to turn around and have these two little teeth sticking out from below a top lip, smiling at me like, "Don't worry,
Yeah,
who cares if Miss Jones is pissed?" I mean, that doesn't get much better than that, in my opinion.
yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. I like that. I liked working with my wife. She did not like working with me.
Now, hey, I'm going to say I like working with Brittany. She may not like working with me.
I was bringing her down to Florida. We were chasing storms together. And it was great. Like she did all our admin, but yeah, she said I was didn't work out.
Depending on the day, I bet my wife and your wife could have a nice cup of coffee and have some real candid conversations about working with their husbands.
Yeah. Oh, well, that was a great conversation, Tyler. Where can people
Yeah,
learn
man.
about you and Bird Construction?
Yeah, so we're on all in social media platforms, including YouTube. Bird Construction OK is our handle, and the OK is for Oklahoma. We're great. We're not just okay. Or you can go find us online, www.birdconstructionok.com. That'll get you to all of our stuff. But yeah, man.
Well, Tyler, it was really a pleasure. I'm sure that anybody listening out here would feel really confident having you guys take care of their roof for them. You clearly are a man of integrity, and I've really enjoyed our conversation today.
Well, Jesse, I appreciate you reaching out. We're flattered to be thought of and really enjoyed talking with you. And I'm definitely curious in some of your systems once we get offline here of what's going on. We can talk about that later. But thanks for hosting us today, brother.
Sounds good. You have a good day.
You too, buddy.